go and look at this whole issue about the EC and the suggestions from the minority that the EC may be attempting to rig, well, not EC attempting to rig, the NPP using the EC or through the EC attempting to rig the elections. Let's look at that story here. It says, this is from citynewsroom.com. A few papers also carry the story as well. Voter transfer, EC NPP seeking to rig 2024 polls with agents ban. Now, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has criticized the decision by the Electoral Commission not to allow agents of political parties to observe the ongoing voter transfer exercise. Mahama, in a Facebook post, said the EC's decision points to only one reason, which is to collude with the governing New Patriotic Party to rig the upcoming December 7 elections. Now, and I quote, the Electoral Commission's decision not to allow agents of political parties to observe the ongoing voter transfer exercise points to only one reason. The EC's avowed determination, excuse me, the EC's avowed determination to aid the ruling NPP in stealing the outcome of the 2024 elections. All right, let's get right into the story, in the conversations here. Paul, is this not just a case of sour grapes, honestly? Because if the parties, if we say all parties should not bring representatives to the centers to observe voter transfer, because when you come, you fight, you squabble, you quarrel, you behave like children at the centers. Okay, so don't bring your agents. They are observers. They are various categories of people who are there at the transfer, the centers to observe what is going on. Is that not enough? Because your people are not there, my people are not there. How is that a situation for concern?
Okay, cool. What has been the practice since time immemorial? Perhaps that's something we need to concern ourselves with. That over the period, we've always allowed political parties, and better yet, their agents, to observe proceedings during voter transfer or vote transfer, right? You recall the timetable of the EC was issued out some months ago. And in there, it was clearly spelled their activities prior to election 2024 on December 7th. It stated there will be a limited voter registration. Why were agents also not banned from being there? You allowed them because you knew and you know they are part and parcel of the process. And it's more or less impossible to wean them off. Then it is the time for vote transfer. The CI 127 regulation 22.8 mandates the returning officer to issue copies at the request of political parties and their agents or candidates, the list of vote transfer.
Okay.
All right, it's in there. And so I do not see anything wrong if you have party agents present to monitor or observe vote transfer. My issue is with the security situation at that end. Why even allow observers or party agents to come in there with weapons, knives, cutlasses, and guns and what have you? Why all of that? So you see, we seem to be on a trajectory, especially with the EC. And the EC hasn't done so well over the period. There seemed to be a disconnect, in terms of trust between some political parties and the EC. Because the claim is that the incumbent is always in bed with the EC. Okay, and that is where the challenge is. But if, as a referee, as an umpire, who is to make sure you do not belong to either side, your actions or inactions tend to prove otherwise, then you give room for other parties to mistrust the process. And they have absolutely every right to say that you are in bed with the incumbent to rig the election.
Okay.
I personally have seen, a rigging process in 2008.
Okay. How did it happen?
When I voted in Adesu. And I was denied putting my finger in the ink by an EC official.
Okay.
And I was asked to go to another center in Asamankesi to go and vote. Mind you, I had just transferred my vote from Nkwetia in Kwewu to Adesu because I was going to represent a candidate. And this was in 2008. And as naive, if you like, as I was, quickly I called my dad and said, Dad, they are asking me to go to Asamankesi to go and vote again. But I'm not comfortable. He said, hey, go with your conscience. So my conscience wasn't allowing me to go to Asamankesi to go and vote.
Yeah.
So then I picked Trotro, boom, and I went to my dad's place at Amanfrom, Chebi. And I went to rest. So I didn't even go through, the agency process of representing that candidate.
Yeah.
So these are things that are very much possible because some EC officials can connive with some political parties to do whatever they want to do, especially in their strong regions, or if you like, strongholds. So if my stronghold is the eastern region, I'll make sure I transfer as much people, not only for the parliamentary elections, but also for the presidential, so that I can get both sides, at the end of the day. Where you have your processes not being as transparent as it ought to, then you give room for speculations, for people to have that kind of mistrust in you as the referee.
Yeah.
So the EC seems to be on this tangent of always up in arms with the political parties. But that is not the way to go. If your processes are transparent enough, if your processes are seen by all and sundry as okay, I'm not sure they will have cause to be always, fighting you here and there. You remember when the parties came out that you should extend the registration process?
Yeah.
He said no. And in the end, he had to go ahead and do it. So that's to what end? Okay?
Yeah.
It does not inure to anyone's benefit. Let us see you as a referee, or as the referee that you are, be as transparent as you have to be with all the political parties, and not be one-sided in your dealings.
Okay.
Where it is seen by one party as you being, quote and unquote, in bed with the other, then clearly there will be that mistrust. And we've seen it in other countries where, by virtue of this same mistrust, we have seen violence.
Yeah.
Violence that ought not to have taken place, take place. Quite avoidable ones. Like the ones that happened at Baolishi. It was an avoidable act. It ought not to have happened. And the kind of violence that keeps erupting on daily basis with our elections these days is quite overwhelming. And the earlier we nib it in the bud,
Yeah.
the better for all of us as a country. Listen, it is the only country we have. Some of us haven't even traveled abroad before. And we know why we don't want to travel. Not because we love Ghana to the extreme, but this is the only place we have.
Yeah.
If you are not able to protect our democracy, a democracy that has traveled over 30 years, and then we want to soil it in the eyes of the world, then I do not know where we are going. Madam Jean Mensah, this is a simple task that you have to do. Be transparent with the parties. Where they do not understand, have an engagement with them. Sit with them. But don't be bossy. You know, that kind of attitude will not get us the results we are looking for. Because it always gives room to other parties to have resentments.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And the more they do, the worse it becomes.
Okay.
And we will get into the elections and whatever will happen. So please, EC, be transparent with the parties. Whatever that you need to engage, have that meeting, engage with them. If they request for the registrar or the register, please, you need to go ahead and give them. That is after going through all the processes to eliminate ghost names and what have you from it, and making sure we have a credible register, a register that is not bloated, a register that is not with minors and what have you in there, and it is credible enough for the elections.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give them so that the process becomes quite transparent, and one party will not have cause to say that, this elections was rigged in favor of so and so or in favor of so and so.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.